My name is Dan, and I love making everyday tech easy. I worked at Apple for 19 years, and now I am in full-time ministry. So I am doing a quick follow-up video. If you saw my last video, I talked about the Plaud Note. And what the Plaud Note does is basically a voice recorder using AI that will transcribe and summarize whatever you recorded. Now, the question came up, is this better than what Apple Notes and the Apple or the iPhone can do right now with voice memo or even recording a note into Apple Notes? Well, I did some testing and here is what I found. Hey, so glad that you are with us. Do me a quick favor before we dive right in. So many of you have not yet subscribe to the channel, and I hate asking for this. I know it's a YouTube thing to do, but the community is growing. So thank you so much for all 800. We passed the 800 mark, and we are on our way to 900. So super exciting. So let's talk about this. I love this thing, the Plaud Note, the notebook, the Plaud Note, I should say. Basically, this is just a little magnetic device that can magnetize to the back of your iPhone. You don't need to magnetize it. And basically, it is a rechargeable voice recorder that will, paired with an app, will capture that recording, give you a summary. It'll do stuff like mind mapping, key points, a bunch of stuff. So I wanted to know what was better. Is Plaud better than the Apple Notes or the Apple Voice recording with all the new Apple Intelligence? And so here's what I did. I went and I just opened up my YouTube channel and I went onto the one of the very first videos that I made, and I played it on my desktop and I recorded on both the Plaud Note and on the iPhone. Now, here is my experience, and here's where we'll start to um, make the differences in between. So number one, for me, a couple of things that I noticed while recording voice memo on my device. Well, a couple of things. Number one, my battery is low. So my device, I'm on it every day. I'm using it for work. I'm using it for a bunch of different stuff. So, I noticed and kind of had a little aha moment that I would have to have this thing charged enough to be able to record, let's say, a class or a podcast, or maybe I'm a salesperson and I'm doing quotes or I'm getting customer feedback and staff meeting, whatever it is. So, I found it as a little bit of a pain point that I had to charge my device. Now, that being said, the Plaud also has to be charged. It's actually charged with a magnetic attachment in the back. Kind of attaches just like that. And it's, of course, USB. And this has to also be charged, but it's not on my iPhone, right? It's not my main device that I'm driving. So I can always have this charge in my briefcase, in my book bag. So I would give the Plaud 1 point for that, in the fact that I don't have to really worry about my device being ready to go. This device in itself, I've offloaded that to the Plaud. Now, the other thing that I noticed is that if in the situation where I'm in a staff meeting or I'm in a classroom taking notes from the professor, or again, you're out in the field with a customer, do you really want to have your phone, recording your customer as so, right? You're not going to put your phone in somebody's face to record, or if you're in a classroom setting, are you going to leave your phone all the way on top of the class? So that's where I think the Plaud again has another point where I can easily leave this in the front of the class. I can leave this in the center of the conference table or wherever it is that I'm at, and I am now detached a little bit from it. I mentioned also that the Plaud has a little necklace attachment, a little magnetic one that you wear on your neck. I don't have that one, so I can't speak for that, but that's also kind of on your body. But this is kind of very discreet. It could be attached to your phone, but doesn't have to be. It could definitely be towards the speaker or whatever the case may be. It could be away from you. So again, I think another point to Plaud. The other thing that I noticed was audio quality. Now, this one is subjective. During my setup, I'm here at my home office, so I have speakers on either side. So as I played the YouTube video, and I set my phone down and I set the Plaud Note down. They were basically next to each other, and the audio recording I would say was an even Steven. They were both pretty equal. I had a little bit of the ambient noise. I have a fan running, but overall pretty good on both. Again, no differences there. Now, uh, the last thing I would say, if it is something of more discreet, if you are in the medical profession, or you are a lawyer, or again a real estate agent, and you want to be more discreet about capturing your notes because of whatever the case may be, again, I think this or even the necklace may be better suited for you. But again, personal preference, so no opinion there. Now, where I think everything started to shift was after I recorded the audio. Let's talk about the experience. So on the iPhone, the way that I went ahead and recorded the YouTube was that I went ahead and I opened up simple. I opened up the voice memo app, right? So interface wise, pretty simple. You guys have seen it. Now let's talk about the user experience, right, or the user interface. The way that I did this particular demo or test is that I used the built-in voice memo app on my iPhone. So pretty simple. Opened up the voice memo app, press record, set the phone down. Pretty simple. On the Plaud Note, all I did was make sure it was charged, press and held that little button until the red light came on. It gave me a little buzz notification telling me that it's recording, and it was off to the races. This also has a paired app that if you launch it, you can also start a recording there as well, right? So you can tap the little red button on the bottom and initiate a recording. Pretty simple, even Steven. Now, user experience. During my recording, I received a phone call. And the moment that I received the phone call on my iPhone, there went my recording. So that was another quick aha moment that was not cool. So if I'm in a class, of course, maybe I wouldn't be getting a phone call. Maybe you can mitigate that by putting your phone in do not disturb or in one of the other focus modes. I get it. But initially, my iPhone was stopped due to that phone call. Yet the Plaud kept on recording. So from a user interface, I would give the point maybe there to Plaud. Now, after the recording was done, what did I do? Well, on my Apple Notes, or I'm sorry, on my Apple Memo, the first thing I did was I went ahead and played it back. It just has the So I went ahead and played back the audio, and actually this is the right audio. I worked at Apple for 19 years, and now I serve at my church. And then once I opened that, my options were pretty simple. I tapped on edit, and then it said, do I want to edit the recording? Do I want to view the transcript? Do I want to copy it? Do I want to favorite? There's an option there. If I hit options, I can adjust the speed of it. But in my situation, I needed to hit view transcript. So now when I tap on the three little dots on the side, and I'll show you, I'll drop in some screenshots here. And I went ahead and viewed transcript. What I was able to see was just literally a text file on my device. Then what I did is that I had to copy that text and then I opened it on Apple Notes, and then I went ahead and pasted the transcript onto my device. So again, I'm in voice memo. I recorded it. I viewed the transcript, copied it, went to notes, opened a new note, and pasted that in order to view my transcript. Well, why did I do that? Well, I did that because once in Apple Notes, if you remember from one of my Apple Notes video, all the way at the bottom, you have your Apple Intelligence icon all the way down there. And once you tap on the Apple Intelligence, you get a menu. Try to get it out the way here. Where here, it'll tell you, do you want to proofread it? Do you want to rewrite it? Do you want to make this sound friendly, professional, right? If you're rewriting this. But then at the bottom, you have these options over here that say summary, key points, list, or table. In other words, how do you want me to summarize this text? So I went ahead and just selected summary, and it gave me a very, I would say, a very concise summary, very looking back, very, very, very condensed. And maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's not a good thing, but it was very condensed. The video itself was about 15 minutes long, and it literally gave me 2 paragraphs and maybe half of one. Okay, so now on the Plaud note, what was my experience there? After I finished recording, I am faced with this interface now, and I know it might be super hard to see on the camera, but the interface is very, very clean. Up on the top, I have a sound wave. I can tap play. Give me a little buzz notification telling me that it's recording, and it shows me the recording. That was actually the one that we just recorded here live. So this is the one that I recorded during the session. Why the Apple Watch is the most underrated productivity. So I get a nice, I think, clean interface. It actually gives me, and I'll go ahead and take a screenshot and I'll interject these on the screen. So you should be seeing these coming up soon. It gives me the option. It actually selects keywords. So in this situation, it selected if determined that the keywords were Apple Watch productivity customization. And then it gave me a bullet point, kind of an introduction where it says, Dan, a former Apple employee with 19 years of experience, and now a church pastor, discussed why the app, and kind of gives me its own summary of what I said. And then what I like about it is that it went ahead and gave me a point number 1, point number 2, point number 3 with a sub point. Very, I think, detailed on its summary. Now, that was just the summary. When I selected this, I had the option to get key points, a table, if this was some type of data dumping chat that we would have had. But I thought it did a better job with the summary that the Apple Intelligence did on the voice memo and on the Apple Notes. And then the other feature that it gives me is that, and we spoke about this in the last video too, if you're into mind mapping, this will actually go ahead and scale out a mind map, and I'll try to show you there. Hopefully the camera could focus. You can kind of see it there. I'll take a screenshot and share it here, so you guys should be able to see it now. The mind mapping is one of those things that it is a very niche thing. If you are into mind mapping, especially if you're in the medical field or maybe you're a lawyer, you might be needing mind mapping, but it gives you that option. So I gotta say that in that situation, I would also too give the point to Plaud Note. And then the awesome thing is too, one last I guess observation is that the Plaud Note does allow you to export either the transcription, the audio feed. Maybe you want to just export the summary, or you want to just to export the mind mapping. It gives you that option. Now, if you were just to ask me, well, Dan, what's the final verdict? Well, honestly, to me, in my world, I am going with the Plaud. This is not a sponsored video at all. Plaud has no idea who I am. I do have an affiliate link, so I guess they kind of know who I am, but they have zero knowledge that I'm even doing this review. I believe my affiliate link at the bottom saves you like 10% or something like that at no additional cost. Um, but I really do like the Plaud. Now, one of the things that I harp always on is the way that Apple does security. And now here is where we get into two different worlds. Security is very different. So with Apple, you have Apple Intelligence, which does on-device processing with private cloud computing. I believe Apple calls it PCC, where basically it's doing most of the transcription on device tech, meaning it's not going out to just give you a verbatim of what you said. Now, the story changes once we have to take that information out and then give you a summary, because now it is using some sort of computing power or artificial intelligence, something to actually give you a summary. Now, Apple does use again, private cloud compute for more complex tasks. And the PCC, or the private cloud compute, does process the data on Apple servers. And that's, I think, the key indicator here. Apple is very meticulous when it comes to data privacy, and they believe in a lot of data, our personal data being our data and being very anonymous, right? So once this data leaves your device, which is onboard encryption, it is encrypted onto Apple server. It is digested in the sense to give you a summary, and then encrypted and sent right back. And that handshake, if you will, or that interchange of data is with randomized identification numbers, right? So it doesn't really know who the person on the other side is. It's just saying, hey, here's what the transcription that your device processed, and here's what I think it said because you asked me for a summary. Does that make sense? Now, with the Plaud Note, they also do cloud based processing with encryption, so they are fully encrypted, and they use I'm reading here AES 256 encryption, so it's super secure. They do use offsite storage with TLS encryption for the data transmit. In other words, when it leaves your device or it leaves the Plaud Note through your device's data, it is encrypted and then sent over to the server clouds, which then is ran through Chat GPT, and they don't hide it. It says it right here on the box. They definitely use Chat GPT for its summary-based analysis, if you will, and then the information is sent back. I was doing a little bit of searching here, and it looks like Plaud is using Amazon Web Services, or AWS. Again, the benefit there, it is an Amazon server farm, so Amazon is employing very secure encryption. But at the end of the day, when your data leaves you, it's there. There's always a chance for something to happen. I used to tell my customers this all the time. You know, we go to a restaurant, and maybe Apple Pay has changed this, obviously, but you go to a restaurant and you know, you have a meal, a nice time, and then the waiter or the waitress comes over and says, "Here's your bill," and then you take out a credit card. This is not a credit card, and you hand it over to them, and then they walk away, and they usually go behind the wall somewhere, and they swipe your credit card, and they come back with your receipt, and you sign it, and you're done. Well, the moment you handed them your credit card, like game on, like your numbers are there. Back in the day when we would write checks, maybe you still write checks. Do you still write checks? Let me know down in the comments. But if the moment that you would write a check and you would pay a vendor, like your routing number is there, your checking account number is there. Once data leaves our physical control, anything could happen. So on the side of security, I may ruffle a few feathers here, but I'm going to give the point to Apple. And you can definitely tell that there is a trade-off, right? Security will cost you something. So who is Plaud Note for, and who should stick to using the Apple Voice Memo and Apple Intelligence? I think the key identifier here really is security. If you are somebody who deals with very sensitive information, maybe you are in the medical field, and maybe there is a doctor patient, HIPAA, anything like that, then I would tell you to read the fine dotted line whenever you use anything else that's using cloud-based computing for that data analysis, because you never know. If you are just the average Joe like me, and you're not dealing with, you know, secret plans for the next iPhone, then man, Plaud Note, ChatGPT collaboration, I think it does a phenomenal job. Anyways, this video is probably way too long as it is. Those are my thoughts on who wins between the Plaud Note and using the built-in software that Apple gives. I'll chalk one up for Plaud Note, but definitely one for the security side of Apple. And who knows, whenever there's something typically this good, sometimes somebody comes along and buys them out. So hopefully we'll see this product continue to get better. If you have additional questions, you want to give me some feedback, please drop me a comment down below. Check out these other videos, especially if you want to get better at note taking, better at being organized. And have you checked out the Meta smart glasses review that I did? It's pretty awesome. Hope to catch you next week or sometime soon. Peace.